Welcome all my lovely deadites and she bitches of the internet. I'm Hanyo, your demonic cinephile, and I just saw Evil Dead burn a second time, so maybe we should do a franchise ranking. Like, I'm probably not gonna be on camera, or my mouth's not gonna be on camera right now, because I'm trying something a little different at my desk, so I'm walking around with a microphone. Maybe that'll give me, I don't know, make my brain more active. I don't know, it's trying something new. Be happy for me. Now, this one was kind of hard to rank, mostly because there's not a bad Evil Dead movie. The Evil Dead is probably the most inconsistent franchise in all of horror. All the movies, except for like the last, no, all the movies have almost a completely different tone, different feel. There's continuity errors, but they're all in continuity. But they all work. They all work pretty freaking well. For the last couple of weeks, I've been going through the films, watching them out of order, but except for like the last three. So it was kind of weird. But I think I have a good idea where I have the franchise right now in my head. But you know what I mean? It might change because this was pretty hard to rank which I thought was best and which ones I thought were not the best because they're all freaking pretty good. So starting off at the bottom of the list, but not nowhere near as bottom bad movie, because there's no such thing as a bad Evil Dead film, is 1992's Army of Darkness. Now, to be honest, this actually was my least favorite Evil Dead film for a while. It was the last one of the original trilogy that I watched, and I never really liked Army of Darkness. Mostly just because how freaking different it is from the first two movies. Because first Evil Dead is a pure strip horror. Evil Dead 2, horror comedy, one of the best horror comedies ever made. Then you get Evil Dead 3, or Army of Darkness, or The Medieval Dead, which it should have been called. You get to Army of Darkness, and it's a complete it's a complete slapstick silly show. And that's kind of weird because, not weird, but it's funny because the comedy was always kind of there in Evil Dead 1. You know, it was very subtle. Evil Dead 2, Sam Raimi fully embraced the slapstick aspects of what kind of like, how do I say this? Because Evil Dead 1 was pure straight up horror. Little funny moments, but it was scary. Evil Dead 2 is complete slapstick. I mean, there are some freaky and intense moments, but you would never really call it scary. Then you get to Evil Dead 3, which, except for some of the aesthetic aspects of the franchise, it abandons all the horror. And for the longest time, it really bothered me. Because when you go to an Evil Dead film, what do you want to do? You want to be scared. You want to be tormented. You don't want to get fucked up. But this last recent watching, I had a lot of fun with it. Not saying I never liked the film before, but it kind of spoke to me in a different way. I guess I just stopped seeing it as Evil Dead 3 and more just start seeing it as Sam Raimi movie. The more you just see it as, oh, it's just Sam Raimi being crazy Sam Raimi, the film works. It works pretty darn good. Of course, you got Bruce Campbell back as the legendary Ash Williams. And he's gone through a whole character arc. Evil Dead 1, he is the reluctant hero. He's the wimp. He's the coward who has to rise to the occasion after all his friends and his sister die. Then Evil Dead 2, he is this complete lunatic who's being driven crazy by the Deadites. Then you get to Evil Dead 3, where he has changed almost entirely. He is this silly, over-the-top, macho meathead guy, and it's like, I don't really like this guy, but he's so entertaining in how he interacts with all of these medieval characters that it's just so fun to watch. I mean, I want to see him get back home, but I also want to see the evil spirits kick his ass a lot. And the film is I don't want to say Carrie, but the film is made by the spectacle of the amazing special effects, especially the stop motion skeletons, which are just a beaut to look at. Coming up at number 5, we have the most recent film, Evil Dead Burn. And I wasn't sure where I wanted to put this. Originally, I was going to put this a little bit higher on the list. I was really going to put this a little bit higher on the list because I really, really enjoyed it the first time I watched it. Second time I watched it, after watching some of the other movies, it kind of dwindled. Not a lot, but it's kind of like how I felt about it. Personally, I still think this film is getting a little bit too overhated. I think it is a fantastic Evil Dead film. I think it's doing a fun job in kind of connecting the dots between all the different films, introducing new versions of the Kandarian dagger. Is this the original Kandarian dagger? Is this a rebooted tool? Or it's just another tool? I think where the film kind of falls flat, and I noticed a lot more the second time I watched it than the first time I watched it, is the characters. I mean, the characters are great for the purpose of the plot. The characters are great for the narrative that the director is trying to sell about this story of abuse, surviving abuse, and how abuses. I should not joke about that kind of thing. How abuse changes a person and affects a person. I think the characters are very surfable for that. I do think they kind of lack in personality wise, especially characters like Alice, which I thought the actress who played her was fantastic. I just wish we got to see a little bit more of her. I wish they were a little bit more creative with the flashback on how they, showed her trauma with her ex-husband. But where the characters do fall a little bit flat for me, I still love the plot, the overall design of the plot. I love that the Deadites are not really summoned this time, but they are actively searching for something. They're actually hunting for someone. They're not just unleash randomly onto the world. Also, I do like how a little bit more serious this one was. I mean, all the Evil Dead movies, even the more scary ones, have elements of, silliness and slapstickiness to it. So does this one, but the Deadites themselves, I guess maybe the exception of the grandma Deadite, are all played very serious, and it was very intense. It was very mean, very brutal, and it was fun. It was not a newish take on Evil Dead. Coming in at number 4, we have the original The Evil Dead from 1981. And I wasn't sure how I wanted to rank this one. I wasn't sure if I wanted to put it a little bit higher, a little bit lower. But I think this is kind of perfect on my feelings about it, because the original The Evil Dead is a very... I'm not sure how to describe the original Evil Dead. It's a very moody film. It's a very bleak. It's a very bloody and very special film. I say very special because the movie was made kind of like on a, I won't say shoestring budget, but you can see the budget behind the film and all the little, how they crafted these special effects, and it works. Like, it gives the film a certain homemade kind of charm to it. The characters are a little bit simple, which, and to be fair, to kind of doesn't irk me, but I wish we got a little bit more, but they all play them well, especially when you go to Bruce Campbell, because once again, this is very weak Ash. This is mundane Ash. This is good boy Ash. He's not the over the top hero he would become in later films and in the TV show. I think the Deadites are almost perfect in this film. If I was ranking just the appearance and actions of the Deadites, I think this would be a little bit closer to number 1, because they are the perfect amount of sadistic and creepy and cartoony. Like, they're not like literal cartoons, which they kind of can get like in part 2 and in part 3 and Ash versus the Evil Dead. No, they feel like these creepy trickster spirits, like these malevolent fairies who lost their bodies and now just hopping into the nearest mortals that they can. That's what they feel like. They don't feel like traditional demons, which they never really kind of were. They feel like mischievous, evil little fucked up fairies. Especially, who was it, Linda? Who did the whole, "We're gonna get you, we're gonna get you. We're gonna get you, we're gonna get you. Not another peep, kinda gonna sleep. The film is disgusting, I love that. This is what an Evil Dead film should be. It should be disgusting. It should make your skin crawl, should make your stomach easy. When they're puking up and boiling out their insides, you should want to puke up too. That is the charm of The Evil Dead. Also, it's just very fun to see Bruce Campbell get beat up and abused. Sorry. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. All right. Coming to the big three, and this one was pretty hard to rank. All right. So I'm guessing we're going to settle with this one. So at number 3, we have Evil Dead 2. Or, how I prefer the full title, Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. Now, Evil Dead 2 is a very interesting film because it's kind of a remake and a reboot. So is Army of Darkness. So from what I can recall, because I'm doing no research prior to recording this, is that Evil Dead 2 was made by a different company because now they had budget, while Evil Dead 1 was still owned by a different company. So they couldn't really show anything from the Evil Dead 1. So they basically had to make the small little 5-minute recap of everything that happened to Ash in the first movie, except they removed all his friends, they removed his sister, it's just his girlfriend there, and he gets possessed. Basically, you can skip like the first 3. You can watch Evil Dead 1, then skip like the first 3 or 5 minutes of Evil Dead 2, and just jump into that, and it kind of works just perfectly, except for the new version of Ash. Ash feels like a completely different character in this film because, well, the first Ash was weak, timid, had to rise to protect himself. This Ash is much more confident, much more of a kind of like hero type of character. And my personal opinion is mostly just him going crazy. Like, if you look at the original trilogy as this man slowly going insane as all these different entities torment him physically and mentally, it makes a lot of sense why he is so effed up, why he is so different. I think this is my preferred version of Ash, where he's a little bit more cocky. He's a little bit more of a stronger character, but he still feels human. He's not much of a cartoon character as he is in Army of Darkness and Ash versus the Evil Dead. Also, if I were to put this on this list, I'm not sure because I haven't watched it in a while, but if I were to rank Ash versus the Evil Dead in part of this list, I guess I would put it between Army of Darkness and Evil Dead Burn. Not because I don't like the show. I love the show. I only seen it twice, but I want to watch it again. I love the show. I love how cartoony it is. Like, it has that good blend of almost Evil Dead 2, where, like we're talking about right here, where it's a perfect blend between the horror and the silliness. But I just don't like that version of Ash. I mean, Bruce Campbell plays it perfectly. God bless him. But I prefer Ash like he is in Evil Dead 2. Where he's not as silly. He's not much of a jerk. I mean, I love jerky Ash, but I prefer more down-to-earth Ash. I prefer good Ash, not bad Ash.
I'm bad Ash, and you're good Ash. You're goody little two-shoes. You're goody little two-shoes, goody little two-shoes. Little goody two-shoes, little goody two-shoes, little goody two-shoes, little goody two-shoes, little goody two-shoes.
Going back to Ash, since that's what we're talking about, Bruce Campbell is a goddamn legend in this one. How he torments himself, how he throws himself around that cabin. Like, the physical acting alone is extraordinary. The effects here are fantastic. How they do the hand coming to life, walking around the cabin. My favorite 2 parts, at least are coming to my mind, is when Ash starts going full bonkers and the cabin comes to life. The deer head, the lamp, I think it was the books, like, they all come to life and start laughing at him, and then start laughing with him. Like, that is such a fantastic set piece. It is so iconic. Like, it blends that line I was talking about earlier between the horror and the comedy. Yes, it is so outrageously silly, but there's also something kind of unnerving about it. Like, you don't know if this is actually the Deadites, or if it's him losing his mind, or is it both? Like, he is embracing the chaos of these entities that are having the absolute time fucking with him, and you'll love it. The second part is where they make the entity take a physical form, and it's like this giant tree monster bursts through the cabin. And I've always wondered, is this supposed to be the Kandarian demon? Like, is this Kandar? Is this supposed to be the Kandarian demon that we saw at the end of Ash versus the Evil Dead? Because that looked like a completely different entity. I was always kind of wondered what is like the hierarchy in the Evil Dead hell? Or wherever the world the Deadites come from. I mean, I guess Kandar's like the big boss. Like, I always imagine Kandar and the Wood Demon are like the big bosses, and the little Deadites we see throughout the films are like the meeker little foot soldiers. The other characters, when they come into the film, are kind of, I don't know, because some viewings, I like it. I like it when the other characters come in and we get to see them reacting to this insane Ash, who they think is this psychotic madman. The other versions, I don't like it. Sometimes I just wish they left the film or never got involved, and we just follow Ash throughout the film and him trying to escape the woods. Sometimes I think it'd be better like that. So I'm always kind of mixed with those characters. All right. Coming on to number 2, we have Evil Dead from 2013. And this one has a special place in my heart. It has a special place in my heart. One, this was the first Evil Dead film I saw in theaters. So yeah, that was really nice. This came out in 2013, which was my last year of high school. So another special year. Also, other things that happened that time. Not going to talk about that right now, but yeah, Evil Dead 2013. It was a film I really needed to watch at that time. I really needed a film that was just a film that could really what's the words I'm trying to find here. A film that could really scare me, that I could really just enjoy and have fun with. I really needed that at that time, which is kind of funny just to say, because this film is complete opposite of good, wholesome fun. I think why I really want to put this one higher, because it's the first Evil Dead film with actual themes. I mean, that's kind of weird, mean to say, because Sam Raimi, he had character themes in his films, but this one where it was kind of like actually about something. It's about addiction, trying to get over that addiction, how addiction and mental illness affects a family, affects your friends. Mia is a fantastic character in this film, and it's so fun to watch her go from victim to Deadite, and then into the final girl, who gets one of the best kills in the entire franchise, where she shoves the chainsaw through, like, she takes the bloody stump of her hand, puts it through the guard of the chainsaw, and then rips that abomination clean in half. It's so fucking metal with the brain coming down. It is a glorious, one of the best shots in this whole franchise. If I had to go through each film shot by shot, that definitely had to be number 1, or at least top 5. It is glorious. I really do love Mia's struggle too, because you can feel her like wanting to go through this, and when she breaks, it feels so mean, it feels so real. Jane Levy, so fantastic in this, and it's such a shame she hasn't really done much horror after this movie. Actually, let me double check real quick. Oh no, my bad. She was in the Toxic Avenger remake. I haven't seen that one yet, but she was in the Twin Peaks movie. Okay, I guess she's done a few things, but I don't think she's really been in like a film like this, where she is the final character and like the monster at all at the same time. The other characters they're okay for what the film has. Davis' character, I think he gets a lot of unnecessary hate, because wait a second, His actor was in the Odyssey. He was in the Odyssey? Wait, who did he play in the Odyssey? What's his name again? Sheila Fernandez? First Trojan. Okay, he was kind of like an extra or something. Okay. That's neat to know that he was in the Odyssey. But I think his character makes sense because he is the reluctant friend and brother. He got away because he couldn't deal with the pain and trauma of his family. And now he's desperately trying to make up for it with his sister. So when, of course, she gets possessed, he is ignoring all the signs of possession. And I love that the fact that they made her a drug addict because they all think she's just going through withdrawals or she got sick with something. Like the deniability for the characters actually makes sense. And I don't care what people say. The one guy, Eric, the one who actually reads from the book, people clown on this man this whole time. Like the book has specific readings and they're like, don't read this book. Don't fucking read this book. Don't look at this book. Don't say the words out loud. And he still does it. Now, to be fair, I would do the exact same thing. I am that curious mofo who would get his entire friend group killed because I found a spooky book and I'm very curious on what's actually going to happen if I read from it. I would be the Eric in this situation. You all can hate me. I think also one of the things that kind of really made this stand out, especially when it first came out, because this was the very first serious Evil Dead film since the original film. You know, because Evil Dead 2, it was slapstick plus horror. Evil Dead 3, action and horror. But Evil Dead 2013, it was just pure horror. It had the special effects to show it because, like I said, in the first movie, the special effects feel homemade. Now, there's a cheesiness to it that works. But here, there's no cheesiness to it. It is complete bloody and brutal and nasty. Oh, 1 second. Stop for a second. Where was I again? What was I talking about? I forgot. Oh yeah, special effects. Special effects here are just so mean and brutal and feel real. Like every little cut and stab and slice, like it makes you wince. And I don't know, maybe I'm just a baby, but I am that baby who likes to be scared. I want the film to make me wince. Because me and Mama Hanya were walking out Evil Dead Burns, and she's like, "You like that? You enjoy that?" Like, yes, I want to be scared. I want the film to make me get all eerie and nasty. I'm an effed up individual. We all know that by now. But yeah, I really do love the special effects in this film. It just real enough. It makes it ew. Like it just feels ew. It's on your skin. Also, the film kind of introduces a new lore for like this rebooted trilogy. Is that the Evil Dead, like the Deadites, possess people through infection. So you watch the first 3 movies in Ash versus the Evil Dead, the people who get possessed, they just randomly get possessed. Here and in Burn and in Rise, the possession spreads like an illness. Like if you get some of the possessed blood on you, you get possessed in turn. But it's different in each one. In Burn and in Rise, it feels like when you get the blood or spit of the Deadite on you, that opens you up to be possessed by a different Deadite. But in this movie, 2013, it feels like they all are possessed by the same entity, mostly because the other Deadites lose some personality wise. Like they don't have anything to make them stand out. And that's kind of a flaw, but also makes them more creepy, makes them feel, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? More zombie-ish. They're technically not really zombies. Also, this film creates the new insane lore and interconnectivity of these films. Because when this movie was released and talked about, it was just a full-on remake. But then it kind of slowly revealed, or they slowly kind of shifted it as to it being a reboot, a rebootical, and all the movies are connected. They all take place in the same world or same timeline. And it also makes you think, what is the full capabilities of the Book of the Dead? Can the book never truly be destroyed? Does it only change shape? Is this the same cabin that they were in the first one? Did the book just make it change? Like, what are the limitations of the Deadites?
Like, this film just did so much for the franchise. Not the film is great by itself. The film is fantastic. It's scary. It's eerie. The characters feel real, especially Jane Levy, who is so freaking fantastic in this. But just also other things like what this film did for the franchise, everything is set up, everything that he's being built on upon it, and it just brought back Evil Dead. So yeah, I'm gonna put this at number 2. And coming off at number 1 is something I think is gonna probably piss some people off. We have Evil Dead Rise. Now, the reason why I put Evil Dead Rise on number 1 is like the first reason is very simple. Evil Dead Rise, what I'm trying to find here. Evil Dead Rise is the perfect combination between Evil Dead 2 and Evil Dead 2013. Lee Cronin, who I'm starting to respect a lot as a filmmaker, because I saw his first movie, The Hole in the Ground. I thought that was really cool. I thought, yeah, it could have been a little different here and there. I thought it was really good. I loved his Mummy, even though it wasn't what I was hoping it was going to be. I still say Evil Dead Rise is his best picture because his gross out humor works really, really well with the Evil Dead. It feels so perfectly Evil Dead-ish. Like, he takes that grueling, gnarly viciousness of Evil Dead 2013, but he takes all that blood and carnage, he mixes it with the silliness of the Deadites from Evil Dead 2. The Deadites in this movie are complete sadistic little chaos spirits, but they don't, that they themselves are cartoonish. They don't make the film feel like a cartoon. Their bloody antics are taken seriously, and I think that is just as scary because you're fighting these creatures, these entities who are possessing your friends, your family members, and they're having a complete, absolute party about it. That feels so messed up. But I also want to say that more than anything else, the characters really, really work in this film. Of course, we got Ellie, who is becoming probably my favorite, but let's say Cenobite for some reason, Deadite of the franchise, mostly because Alyssa Sutherland is completely amazing in this. She balances that thing, the line I kept talking about between horror and comedy. Her character there's a silliness about her, but it is so weird, so unnerving that it just makes your skin crawl. I do love Beth's little journey, how she's like, she finds out she's pregnant, she's just sure she wants to keep it. She goes to her family and they're like, we haven't talked to you like in months. Like, why are you back here? And now her sister gets possessed. She has to, fight for her family. She has to discover this strength in her that she didn't really know she had before. And I love that. I love that little journey she goes on. I love Casey, her actress who went to go play Holly in Stranger Things. I thought she was really good in this one. She's much better in this than she was in Stranger Things. And the little touches that Cronin and the creators put behind us to make the family feel like a family. Because in a lot of the other movies, I guess not talking about Burn, kind of, but not really. All the other movies where the groups get together, they don't feel like, oh, this is like a lived-in space. No, when you get to this high-rise building, everything feels lived in. All the characters feel familiar with each other, and I love that attention to detail. I love the whole little wink and nods to all the other movies, which makes me kind of think that maybe there aren't really wink and nods. Maybe time and the Deadites perfectly repeat these things on purpose, either through some kind of ritual or just because they themselves are fans of their work and they want to do specific callbacks. That sequence where we see the massacre through the peephole. I love that. I love it because sometimes it's not what you see that scares you the most. The applied violence and the aftermath of the violence can be just as effective, and it works really well in that sequence. Also, just all these other little things that I could geek on about, but don't really have the time to talk right now. But yeah, Evil Dead Rise, fantastic. It is scary and silly. Like, it's scary, it's silly, it's bloody and disgusting, but there's still an amount of fun to it that the film never loses. I will admit, I think the ending was a little weak because when the the mother of maggots or whatever that Deadite is supposed to be called merges all the flesh together to become this horde. The concept was more scary than the execution, and I feel like that could have been done a little bit better because the end result, while freaky, it wasn't as scary or intense as the rest of the film. It's like the Deadites lost more power merging than they had when they were separate. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say for right now. But yeah, Evil Dead, fantastic franchise. Not a single bad movie ever. The TV show itself is great. Each one is just a little different. Like, I kind of prefer this one, but I still love it compared to the others. I kind of like this one, but I'm not sure if I want to put it up here. It was a hard ranking to get through. Thank God it was only 6 movies. If this had like 10 or 12, like Friday the 13th, I wouldn't be able to pick. But this was fun. This was my first ranking video I think I'd done, or at least one I'd done in a while. I've been wanting to do more, but I just either forget or kind of quit halfway through because I'm very self-conscious about myself. It may not seem it, but there's a lot of projects I stop and start because I feel like I ain't going to give it the justice it deserves. So yeah, this was just fun just to record in about an hour. Thank you all for watching the video. Comment below, let me know how would you rank the Evil Dead franchise. Where would you place Army of Darkness, but where would you place Ash versus the Evil Dead between the films? Comment below, let me know, and I will see you all and wherever the heck I decide to post next. Catch you all later. Bye bye.